Rev, you know what this week is?
Oh, Black Panther?
Well, yeah, but something else far more depressing as well.
Oh, yeah. It's that day.
Yes, that day. A sad, lonely day for us, and I would venture many a listener. Valentine's Day. Dear listener, if you, like us, are spending Valentine's Day alone, stop this video now and save it till then. When you have completed the obligatory jerk-off and wiped all the lotion from your hands, lay in your cold, lonely bed and listen to us
as we tear apart some of the worst movie romances of all time.
Microphone Joe, what they'll talk about, nobody knows. Microphone Joe's show.
Well, now that that's out of the way, that depressingness, Rev, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
This is the Microphone Joe Show. I'm CJC.
And I'm No Rev.
And this week we are going to, if you weren't paying attention to our intro, break down the 10 worst movie romances of all time.
Yeah, buckle your seatbelts, folks. This one's going to be a bumpy ride.
These are going to be bad. We're probably not that qualified to talk about romance, but we're going to fucking do it
single
anyway.
as fuck, gents, you know.
So listen, if there's any single ladies out there listening to this podcast, hit us up. With that being said, let's start the news. All right, no Rev, we have a lot to go over with the Super Bowl last week, which was kind of depressing, but we won't talk about that. We had a lot of trailers drop the day of the Super Bowl and afterwards, and let's start with the Solo trailer.
Oh my god, the Solo trailer was really, really great. Yeah. I was honestly expecting it to be a little less of a good quality. I mean, I've still wanted to go see the Solo movie anyways. It's Star Wars. How can I not?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't crazy about the idea of a Solo movie, but the trailer definitely got me a little hyped. Give Disney this. If they're good at anything, it's hyping a movie.
Oh, yeah. Especially, too, that, like, the background music meshed along with it very nicely, and that had to have been a new...
Yeah, I have some notes. The Falcon, brand new, or pretty new. I think at this point it's only like 20 years old. But
even still, it was like sparkly white.
Yeah, it was
everything.
A Tide commercial.
Yeah.
One of the big ones that people have been talking about a lot is the mandibles in the front.
Yes.
They don't have the gap. So I don't think it's been confirmed in canon, but in Legends there were different configurations for the Falcon. That's why it was popular, the YT-1300. And those mandibles were actually supposed to be, in Legends again, used for cargo. Mm-hmm. So my theories are either it's cargo or it's a different configuration. We already have seen the outside's a little different regardless of that. There's no dish. I think the cockpit's been pulled in a little bit.
Yeah.
So it could either be just it's filled in, whoever owns it at this point. I don't know if it's Woody Harrelson's character or Lando. I can't remember his name for some reason.
Danny Glover.
Which, by the way, looking fly as fuck.
Yeah, he is.
He's pulling off Lando really well.
I'm actually really excited to see how he does because I'm actually a pretty big fan of Danny Glover.
Yeah, me too.
Ever since like Community and in Spider-Man too, he pulled that shit off too. But I'm actually pretty surprised with Danny Glover recently because I found out that he's actually in another show. I forget what channel it's on, but it's ATL, like for Atlanta, and it's supposed to be like the streets of Atlanta and shit like that, and it's a more serious role.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
But it's a more serious role, and he pulls that shit off well.
Well, I mean, he didn't say any dialogue in the trailer, but if his smile alone is enough to go off, he's going to pull off Lando really well.
That's like 80% of Lando.
Yeah, I know he had lunch with Billy D. Williams to go over how to characterize the character, basically.
And isn't that what you need to do for a character?
Yeah. So also, it kind of to me looks like a heist movie, like an action heisty movie. I mean, like you said, the music kind of sets the tone, and it's really fast paced and
right. And then with Woody Harrelson's character too, he mentions that he's putting a crew together, so that kind of leads to my assumption of a heist movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I'm actually really excited about because that's something that we haven't really seen out of Star Wars.
No, I know. There's an article out there at Entertainment Weekly, and I'll link it in the description for the video, but they talk about it's kind of a heist western, also a little bit of a bromance between Solo and Chewbacca, and they don't really tell you much, but it says that Wookiees don't make it easy to get in. Mm-hmm. And I know in Legends, Solo saves Chewbacca from Imperial slavery, and there's the life debt, and that's why he follows him around. I think they're going to change that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be part of the crew Woody Harrelson's putting together.
Well, if I don't know, because yes, but I feel like they'll already be friends at that point, because they already touched base a little bit on that whole life debt thing, or was that?
I don't think it's ever mentioned in the canon.
Because wasn't it like Aftermath?
Oh,
Life
you're
Debt?
right. I don't know if they might, but
in the
maybe
novels?
we'll see something happen in this movie that causes the life debt.
Yeah.
Also, there was a little 45-second teaser that was put out during the Super Bowl for the trailer, which I think is odd. You tease a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And Solo is talking to an Imperial recruiter about becoming a pilot.
Wasn't that actually in Legends?
In Legends,
also?
he was in the Imperial Navy for 5 years before he got kicked out for helping. He shot his superior officer. He stunned him to free the Wookiee slaves, which I can't believe they just kicked him out and didn't kill him. But,
yeah.
So it looks like there's some old Legends ties happening, because also it kind of looked like they might be hinting at the Sabbath game, the card game where he won.
Oh, Sabak.
Sabak, there you go. I couldn't pronounce it correctly. And the golden dice.
Between that and Kashyyyk, man.
Yeah.
Kashyyyk?
Let's not even talk about that. The gold dice show up too in the speeder chase part.
Yes, I did notice
they're up
that.
there, so who knows where that comes into play.
And who would have thought that little tiny gold dice would have been big story plots?
I guess. Well, most people didn't even know they were there in the original trilogy. You know, they just kind of were hanging there.
Yeah,
it's just Star Wars.
The only the only mention of the dice in the original one was when Chewie accidentally runs into it.
Yeah, he hits his head on him. Yeah. So also, the Kessel Run, maybe that's what we're seeing when that Star Destroyer is chasing the Falcon.
And then he has to dodge that, like, octopus creature.
Yeah, that was kind of a really cool shot with the Destroyer
was.
coming through. And there's a different variation of the TIE Fighter, too.
Yeah. It's got a gunner pod next to the
I've never seen that before. I think, too, there's a scene where he's on the speeder and they're being chased, and there's a different variation of the Stormtrooper. I'll see if I can find a picture and post that in the video. I think it's more like a local police kind of Stormtrooper, not really military.
But that's a cool thing too, because all that we've seen has been some kind of military base.
Well, it's a new Star Wars movie. They have to introduce a new variation on the Stormtrooper. They got to sell the toys somehow.
Yeah.
The last thing I had here was Emily Clark's character. I can't pronounce her name. It's Qiara, Qi'Ra. She mentions in the trailer that she's the only one that really knows him.
Qi'Ra?
Yeah, I guess.
Qi'Ra?
It's probably we're butchering it. We'll know soon. But so from what I'm gathering, I think they probably grew up together on the streets.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking that she betrays them at the end, because in the Entertainment Weekly article they call her the femme fatale. I think
it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to make, because I don't see him being the hard Han Solo we met at the beginning of A New Hope.
No.
I think he's going to be a little softer, and at the end of this movie, something's going to happen to harden him. I think that might be what it is.
Yeah,
so.
That's a good theory.
Yeah, so that's all I have on the Solo trailer. You got any more observations before we move on?
I hope that it's as good of a soundtrack as we heard so far.
Yeah, I don't know who's composing. I don't think it's John Williams. I think he's only doing the main 3 movies. They're getting different people, so we'll see. It looks interesting. I mean, the title card's a little cheesy, but I think the movie's probably going to be cheesy, and I think it means to be cheesy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of cheese, did you happen to see the promo poster for it?
Those are cool.
They are cool.
They are really neat. I like those a lot.
But it reminds me a lot of like the old
Western.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one with Clint Eastwood?
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
So. All right, so we move on to our next trailer.
Yes. Deadpool 2.
Yeah. So this one, there's not a lot, I don't think, to glean from it. I think it's more references and jokes.
Yeah.
His mustache jab.
Oh,
That's so good.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's a obvious jab at the Justice League.
Yeah.
Mustache Gate, man. Mustache Gate.
Yeah, and then there's a Star Wars reference.
Oh, yeah.
Cable says something about being hurt so bad you're more machine than man, which is what Obi-Wan says about Vader.
Yep.
And the huge, obvious Toy Story reference, but you spotted a smaller Toy Story reference in it.
Yes, actually, because obviously he's dressed as Sheriff Woody and says, reach for the sky, and, oh no, Sheriff Deadpool. Okay, that's the obvious one, but when he drops the toys after the CGI is finished, it's actually written Wade on the bottom of the foot of the toys, just like Toy Story.
Just like Andy written on their toys. I didn't notice that. You caught that when we watched it together. And the only real reference that we caught in the trailer, you did, Department of Mutant Control, DMC.
Yes, in the comics, DMC is like a big time government group that's anti-mutant and is trying to regulate all of the mutants' powers, and basically think of the Sokovia Accord but government agency.
It's funny you say that, because now that Disney owns it, I feel like that's going to be their tie-in point to Deadpool, because we know they're not going to wipe Deadpool from what they're doing. The X-Men's going to get rebooted for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But Deadpool won't, because they already know it's a cash cow. It just sucks they couldn't have pulled this deal off a little earlier so we could get Deadpool in Infinity War. But, oh well.
But then how would they have done that with Cable and Thanos? Because they're played by the same actor.
That's true.
Josh Brolin.
Well, I mean, Thanos is all mocap, so it wouldn't be that hard to have.
Just get somebody else in CGI in the rest.
It wouldn't be that hard. I think Cable offers them the ability to retcon in.
Yeah,
because he time travels, right?
Yeah,
I'm not super familiar with Cable, but that could be the way they could twist the timelines and make it all mesh up. They'll figure it out. I mean, they got comic book writers out the wazoo, and they're good at making.
And who better to tie it in than Deadpool? I mean, he's breaking fourth walls as is. So
that's some lazy writing, he says.
And who has the more fun? You actually mentioned this. Who has more fun in their role?
Nobody has more fun than Ryan Reynolds. He loves that role.
Oh, he relishes in it, man.
Yeah,
like he is. It's so on point that they even referenced it in the comics that he was basically Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it's
in a
great.
radioactive Sharpay. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. You couldn't have picked a better actor to play it. And
exactly.
He obviously loves it.
So actually, this is a pretty good tie-in. Our next trailer, Infinity War.
Yep, it was really quick. When we watched it during the Super Bowl, I thought it was longer, but it's only about 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
And Marvel up to their tricks again, because the original trailer, Captain America had like these punching gloves, which we saw.
It was like gauntlets.
Yeah, we saw them in the Black Panther trailer. The one woman, one of Chitala's, is that how you say his name? Chitala, yeah. Chitala. One of his guards, the elite women guards that he has, she has those. Mm-hmm. And then Captain America had them, but that was a trick. And then during the Super Bowl, they showed us his shields, which are on his arms and extend, but they're not those gauntlets. And
yeah, they actually more come out of the out of the gauntlets.
Yeah, they're really cool. I like them. I mean, he won't be able to throw them, I don't think, unless there's
not unless they can shoot or something.
Yeah,
but if they already come out of the gauntlets, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they can.
Because
actually, Wakanda is
vibranium.
Well, they have the best technology on the planet. Like, it rivals Tony Stark.
Yeah,
and they have like the best technology for medicine and everything. So
yeah, so we'll see. And
if anybody can pull it off, it's them.
The only other thing, like I said, it was quick. It was 30 seconds. Thanos looked really good.
Yeah,
the CGI is coming along really well with that.
Yes, it is.
And Scarlet Witch, what is she doing to Vision?
I don't
really.
Obviously,
quick.
She's messing with the Infinity Stone, but my guess is maybe it's some kind of like Infinity Stone lovemaking or something.
Well, I pointed out that she was made from that same stone.
Yeah, that's how she got her powers.
It kind of leads me to think too that him looking human, maybe she did that. She manipulated him to look that way.
Maybe, but then again, too, he kind of always had that ability to do stuff like that in the comics. Like, not a total shapeshifter, but he could make himself look like he had skin.
What we know for sure is that this probably came about because the actor doesn't want to put all that makake on.
Yeah. Would you?
No, hell no.
Fuck that.
It's probably a couple hours worth.
Oh, more than that. Fuck. You're probably talking a full-time job just putting that makeup on.
Probably. It sucks to be one of those people. Him or the people have to put it on. So that does it for our 3 big trailers that we wanted to talk about. And now we're going to get into some other news. Go ahead with your...
Okay, so I've been trying to run a little bit of a theme, throw in a little bit of weird and crazy news from around the world. So I found this one. It's a dog getting mummified inside of a tree trunk. Now, the reason why this is interesting, it was only because the dog has only been dead for like 20 years. But what ended up happening, it was like a freak occurrence of nature. This shit rarely ever happens. But what is said that they thought happened is the dog was actually chasing a raccoon up this like hole inside of a tree. And he got stuck and couldn't get out. So basically, the wind tunnel, or the tree having a hole in the middle of it, created like a wind tunnel, and that made it so that way the smell from the dying dog didn't, or the maggots and everything didn't get to it to decay it.
That's a creepy picture there too.
Yeah, so the maggots weren't able to smell it, so it just mummified. and the tree dried out all of its skin and everything else, and it just caused a perfect mummification of a dog over 20-year span.
That's interesting. I think it's funny that it got... I mean, it's not funny.
But it was actually found by some lumberjacks tearing down a tree.
They didn't cut it in half on accident?
No, because this thing apparently was up in the tree.
Did it have... So I haven't looked... I'm looking at the picture now. I've never read the article. Did it have a dog tag on it? Is that how they identified it? How'd they identify it? Because they have the name of the dog. I'm just now looking at it. They have the name of the dog, Stucky or something?
No, that was actually somebody ended up... Because they had a naming contest in the
Oh,
newspaper
so they named it
for
Stucky? Oh,
yeah.
man, that's like...
Yeah, that's the one that won. Imagine the ones that lost.
That's putting some dirt in the wound right there, some salt.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically it for that one. It was pretty much just a freak act of nature. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. So go ahead. You have the other one here.
This one is actually pretty funny, though. Okay, so police in Spain ended up finding a couple of cars with 8,000 pounds worth of stolen oranges inside of these cars.
8,000 pounds?
8,000 pounds.
4 tons.
They filled these cars with oranges. Obviously, it was a total of the cars to be 8,000 pounds. But these cars were literally filled to the top with oranges. Like, they were stolen cars, somebody
Stolen
parked
cars?
them. They were stolen cars, somebody parked them, and just filled them up with oranges. What is going on in Spain? What is the deal with the oranges?
Yeah. You stole the cars already. What do you need the oranges for?
Yeah, like...
Somebody has a vitamin C
saying,
deficiency.
oh, I'm a rebel, I'm going to break the law, and instead of using this to chop it down and get money or whatever, as, you know, street people normally would, no, here's your vitamin C, have a nice day.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Is that all you got on that?
Yeah, what is wrong with Spain?
Come on, Spain, get your shit together.
Yeah, Spain, what the hell?
So the next one is later this year. I think probably the last entry in the current X-Men timeline is going to be Dark Phoenix. I'm pretty sure they're not going to do any more now that Marvel
One
has
can
control.
only hope.
Yeah. But what's really funny is the X-Men creator, Chris Claremont, is absolutely delusional. I mean, this guy, somebody please check his happy pills and see how much they're giving him. Because he believes, according to this article, that X-Men Dark Phoenix is going to match Infinity War at the box office.
There's no way!
No. Nobody gives a shit about the X-Men anymore.
And X-Men is so convoluted anymore. Does anybody know what the hell's going on with that fucking timeline?
No.
Is it even a timeline, or is it like a constant, like, wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing?
I think it goes beyond wibbly wobbly. I think it's tilty wilty.
Whoa.
So there's no way. This guy is definitely on some kind of drugs if he believes that he's going to make as much money on this as the Infinity War is this build up over 10 years. And yes, the X-Men have been around longer, but nobody gives a fuck anymore.
No.
Wolverine was basically the only reason that series was going on, and now
Yeah.
Deadpool. But as far as I'm aware, Deadpool's not going to be in the Dark Phoenix because it's still, I think it takes place in the 90s. Every one of these new movies moves up a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's so fucking confusing. So we'll move on because this is just irritating me. The last one, earlier this week, I think it was Thursday, Jessica Jones Season 2 trailer dropped.
Yes, I actually just watched this not too long ago. Super excited for it because I was a big fan of the first season.
Yeah, this was like the last really good one they put out.
Yeah.
Luke Cage was okay.
It was
lost
okay.
a little
It was
steam.
more soundtrack than anything.
Yeah, it did
though.
lose a little steam towards the middle when his brother showed up. And
Yeah.
that was weird. And then obviously, neither of us were thrilled with Iron Fist or the Defenders.
Oh,
because,
no.
Mostly because Iron Fist was so integral to the Defenders.
Yeah.
But this comes out March 8th. We watched the trailer together. Obviously, right at the beginning, she's in Josie's bar.
Yep.
That's interesting. That connects a little more connectivity right there.
To Daredevil.
It looks like they're going to be exploring her past, how she was created.
Which is super cool
Yep.
because they dive a little more into like the chemical concoction
Well,
and
I
stuff
think-
like that.
So obviously in the comics it's like radioactivity or
Yeah.
something. But doesn't she mention in the trailer that she died and they brought her back to life?
Yeah,
I think they're going to change it a little here. I think she's going to be an experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
And she says a line, "We were made here." And then she mentions something else being made. So I'm wondering, is that the only other thing, or are there more of these people out there?
I don't know, but my theory about that is when she refers to we, there's another dude with like tattoos all over him. and he seemed to be in like a big old battle royale with Jessica Jones. I'm
The
thinking
Asian guy that wanted to buy her. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking he might be the other person.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And then somebody's clapping at the end. I don't know who it is. You have an idea, though.
Yes, you were correct. I have a pretty decent theory about this. I've actually heard, I don't know if the rumors are confirmed or whatever, but I heard that David Tennant is actually going to be back in this season. So what my theory on it is, maybe it's going to be like he's just haunting her mind or something.
He's like imprinted on her?
Yeah, imprinted on her memory, almost like
Joker
in the Arkham series.
Games. That would be neat if he's almost... Because, I mean, he was in her head for a long time.
Yeah, and that has to have some kind of residual effect.
Yeah, so that would be interesting. I could...
Plus, that would fit in, too, with, like, the deep, dark, like, digging into the past kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I like David Tennant as the Purple Man. He was Jessica.
He was one of my favorite parts of
he was my favorite part. He's so menacing, which is crazy because as Doctor Who fans, we know him as that goofy 10th Doctor, but he's got some range as an actor.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, last part I wanted to mention was that it was hinted at Trish becoming her sidekick in the comics. Her name's Hellcat, one of her names. So maybe we'll see her, and she's obviously been learning like martial arts and learning
Krav
to defend
Maga
herself.
and all that stuff. And
so maybe Jessica Jones will get a sidekick that she doesn't really want.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think that does it for the news. We'll jump into our main topic this week. In honor of Valentine's Day, it is the
worst movie romances of all time.
10 worst movie romances of all time. So we'll start out with a fresh wound for us.
Oh, let's just rip off this Band-Aid real quick. We did an episode not too long ago about the Emoji Movie.
A shit show.
Yeah, we did a shit show on the Emoji Movie, and that was the absolute worst thing.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It wasn't even like bad to the point where we can make fun of it. It was just boring and blah and meh and shit and meh.
Social commentary aside, there were 2 really bad romances in this, so we're going to package them together.
Yes.
The first one, the worst of the 2, because it came out of nowhere, was Maz's parents.
Oh, yeah.
And their problems, I guess, they were having.
Yeah, their marital problems, because they decided they wanted to split apart after one line of dialogue.
Yeah, it was out of nowhere. It was super forced. It was 1 line of dialogue to get them apart and maybe 3 lines of dialogue to put them back together. And nothing in between.
No.
Nothing in between. It was so terrible.
Struggle, internal struggle between the parents or nothing.
It was just... And then the other one, which is more insulting than bad, was the romance between Meh and Jailbreak, or the princess emoji, because it wasn't as out of nowhere, but it was so forced.
Yeah.
She fell in love with him because he was dancing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the...
And then she had obvious feelings for him, and at the end, when he tries to express his feelings to her, he rejects them. Because feminism, she rejects him, and it just... The whole romance subplots. I mean, this movie... These people could not have thought that any adults were going to enjoy this. Why have the romance at all? Because I'm telling you right now, no kids care about that.
No.
Not even little girls. If they're watching this, they're watching because it's colorful.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
And emojis.
Emojis. I hated that movie so much. It was so meh, it caused me to become angry. There was no reason to be angry, but it was so blah that I became angry at it.
Exactly.
How do you make me so bored I become angry?
Is that even possible?
It must be. Maybe I just have a terrible temper, but... So, that Emoji Movie, there's 2 terrible romances in there, and then we'll move on to another really bad movie.
Probably the worst movie of all time.
The best worst movie of all time.
Yes, this one is actually so bad that it's good. So, it's actually... For those who have not heard of it and been living under a rock, The Room.
The Room. So Tommy Wiseau's character, which is... What's his name? I can't remember at the moment.
I don't think they ever get it.
No, he does. He does. In the beginning, when he's at the flower shop, she says his name. Bobby? No.
Maybe.
I can't remember his name.
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau. Yeah, I mean, it's Tommy Wiseau. He's got to be that insane in real life. And his girlfriend, Lisa.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
And she's like... cheating on him with his best friend, and he's madly in love with her, and they're getting married, and it's just all over the place. They have 2 really awkward sex scenes.
Yeah, and can I also throw in the romance of the best friend and the wife, and the to-be wife, too?
So this guy,
obviously he knows what she's after, but he acts surprised every single time.
Johnny, his name's Johnny.
Johnny, that's it.
Well, the first time it's almost believable, almost. But then he comes over and she's alone again, and she's like trying to seduce him. He's like, "We can't do this. You already fucking did it." And then I think it happens a third time.
It happens every single time.
Yeah, every time
this whole movie kind of goes on a loop, doesn't it?
They fuck in the middle of a party for him getting a promotion or something, don't they?
I think it's his birthday.
Oh, his birthday. You're right. He doesn't get the promotion. That's part of the reason why she tells her mother that she's not going to marry him.
Yeah.
So basically, they insult all women, saying that the only thing they're out for is
gold
money.
digging.
Yeah. So it's a huge insult to women. I don't think Tommy Wiseau understands women at all. I mean, we don't.
Does he understand people at all? Is he even human?
I think he's a vampire.
Either that, or I was going to say reptilian.
Reptilian man. He's something. I mean, and those sex scenes. He literally.
So how's your sex life?
Yeah, I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. How's your sex life?
This movie's so bad it's quotable.
It's amazing. I love this movie for all the wrong reasons. He's literally fucking her in the belly button.
Yeah.
In the sex scene.
What the fuck is that?
Now, I learned something a couple weeks ago, too. I guess the actress who plays Lisa, I don't have her name in front of me, I don't think it's important, was so uncomfortable with those scenes, she didn't want them in the movie. And then the scenes are only supposed to be like 30 seconds long.
But they dragged out for like 10 minutes?
She was shocked when she went to the premiere. She was so embarrassed she left, is what I've read. She
Good.
was so embarrassed by
it.
Good,
as you should have.
It's creepy.
As everybody should have watching this piece of shit.
It's so creepy. So I can't. We still watch The Disaster Artist. I'm excited to get to that.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about one of. I mean, it's on our top 10 list, but this is probably the worst.
Yeah.
I think it's the worst. Twilight, the whole thing.
Just all of them are bad.
Oh, I've only watched one of these. I got dragged to it. Oh my god, it was so bad.
And how dare you, Twilight, for creating 50 Shades?
I'm not looking forward to that. By the way, the shit show this week is 50 Shades of Grey.
Shameless plug. But yes, unfortunately, so we will endure some torture for the adoring fans.
All 8 of them. So, Twilight, where do we even begin? The fact that neither of the main characters can emote?
Or the fact that apparently none of them have ever heard of shirts?
Yeah, that too.
Or what the hell is her name there?
I can't remember, but you know what?
Kristen Stewart.
Is that what her name is? I don't know. Well, she should have been meh.
Yeah.
She emotes less than meh.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like mouth wide open all the time, staring off into space.
How do these people that have no idea how to act get acting jobs?
I don't know. Well, you know, the guy who plays Edward, the main vampire, Patterson, he's been in a couple movies since then, and he's not bad. So part of this is probably the material they're given. Although we do know that the woman, whatever her fucking name is,
I think it's Kristen Stewart.
Yeah,
and people, please correct me if I'm wrong.
She cannot act at all. Every movie she's in, she's just a dry piece of wood with her mouth hanging open. She must have terrible breath because her mouth is dried out all the time.
My theory is that she's secretly a Venus flytrap.
That's a good one. That's a good theory. Vampire falls in love with a Venus flytrap. And then we got Wolf Boy, who, unfortunately, this is the one that I got dragged to, was where he gets his pecs, and he takes his shirt off. I mean, if you played a drinking game where every time he took his shirt off, you'd probably die.
Yeah.
And I was in the theater, and there was obviously all these women, and every time, like, oh, it's like, what, you never seen a man with his shirt off before? Oh, right. You're all into Twilight, so you probably never have seen a man with his shirt off before.
Because let's face it, everybody that is a fan of the Twilight series is probably a fucking tweenie bopper teenage girl.
These movies, I've never read them, like the entire book. I've skimmed through. They're written terribly, the books. They're directed badly.
I can only
imagine. They make no damn sense, and we're going to get off on a tangent, but Twilight, all the characters, their romance is bad. It's bad.
Just awful shit.
Yeah, awful shit. So the next one, I don't know anything about this one. This is all on you.
Okay. Let me first go off by saying, how the fuck did Dane Cook get famous?
Well, he started in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So it was like really cool to be an edgy douchebag in the 90s.
He's not even an edgy douchebag. Literally,
he pretends to be an edgy douchebag.
He pretends to be an edgy douchebag, but a majority of his comedy content is nothing but screaming into the fucking microphone at the top of his lungs.
Well, yeah, I don't know how he became famous.
So, based on that, who in the fuck's bright idea in Hollywood was it to give this motherfucker a movie? Not just a movie, a few movies.
He's been in more than one movie?
Yes.
Obviously, I've never watched any movie with Dane Cook in it.
He's been in a couple of movies.
I think I saw one where he had a cameo, but it was like a couple seconds.
He even tried to do a serious movie one time. I don't remember what the fuck that name was.
Well, what is the movie we're talking about here? You're leaving people in suspense.
Oh, yeah, sorry. This is how much I hate Dane Cook. All right, the name of the movie is Good Luck Chuck.
Okay.
And unfortunately...
Is there a TV series named that or something?
That's Good Luck Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
That's a Disney show.
No, isn't there one that was on NBC where he was like a store clerk that became a secret agent? Or it's just called Chuck?
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
called Chuck.
Yeah.
But no, this movie, Good Luck Chuck, has the unfortunate demise of having Dane Cook in it, right?
It's got Jessica Alba in it?
Yeah, which is a good spot when, because majority of the time she's either being flaunted or, half naked or whatever. She doesn't really have much acting in this, though. Like, she's into penguins. And
she was there for the skin.
Yeah, she's into penguins, and she's like a bad luck charm.
I'm looking at the poster. Oh my god, this is bad.
Yeah, so, alright. Let me give you a rundown on the plot real quick. Cliff Notes. Jessica Alba is supposedly Murphy's Law, like the epitome of Murphy's Law. Anything that will go wrong does.
Okay.
Alright? Dane Cook's thing is any girl that he sleeps with immediately has good luck and finds their future husband after him.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, somebody thought this was a good fucking movie.
This only had 5% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a positive review.
How did it get any?
On Metacritic, it has an average score of 19 out of 100.
Yeah, it's bad. It is really, really bad. The romance is so fucking forced, and I fucking hate Dane Cook.
So, Roger Ebert awarded the film 1 out of 4 stars, branding it potty mouthed and brain damaged. That's great.
That's good. Yes. Fuck a Dane Cook. Anyways, you want to take this next one?
Yep, alright, so the next one, Transformers, Shia LaBeouf, and anybody. So, obviously, Michael Bay has an obsession with putting really hot chicks in his movies and getting them, like, sweaty.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. How does any of these super hot bitches fall for Shia LaBeouf?
I don't know, but you know what's kind of creepy about this? Megan Fox. When she actually shot the very first Transformers and, she's leaning over the car and all that, she was actually underage. She wasn't 18.
I believe that.
Michael Bay's a fucking pervert.
Didn't he bang her or try to bang her?
He tried to bang her.
Yeah.
And that's why he keeps putting her in her movies, is because he keeps trying to bang her, but she never lets him.
He's a living explosion. But yeah, I mean, Shia LaBeouf, number one...
is terrible.
He's a terrible...
psychotic.
His character is not a good person in any of these movies.
No.
Like, he almost fucks that fake woman that's actually a Transformer.
Yeah.
Why do any of these women fall for him? He can't get a job. Like in the one where they had the really sexy British woman.
Yeah, she was hot.
Yeah, where they start with the butt shot. Of course, they have to.
Michael Bay's a pervert.
Yeah, she was like a stockbroker. Like she was really...
No, she was an assistant for the one dude that was trying to rip off the Transformer technology.
Oh, okay, but she's successful. He's Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about him.
I don't know. Maybe he's got a big dong or something.
How does he get him to go out with him in the first place? I mean, that's an excuse people always use, but you got to have some personality to get the women to use the dong. The first time, at least. I mean, after that, then you can become a blank.
Maybe he just got her super drunk and then, showed up one day for, at her work, not even wearing any pants, just swinging this thing around like it was like a keychain or something, you know what I mean? Like he's spinning it in his hand.
I don't know. I was going to say maybe it's Bumblebee, his car, but Megan Fox is dating him in the first movie before he even has Bumblebee.
No, she's not.
Oh, she wasn't? I thought
she was dating some, high school football jock.
Of course. I try and block the Transformers movies out of
Unfortunately, I have a weird way of remembering, bullshit.
Well, Shia LaBeouf, anybody in the Transformers, it's a bad romance. It doesn't work. So the next...
Transformers is just bad.
Michael Bay is just bad, man.
And a pervert.
Yeah, very much so. The next one. This one has...
This one kind of touches a soft spot.
So there's only really one romance to talk about of these three movies, but it is handled... So we're talking about the Star Wars prequels. Here's what I'll say. The beginning of the romance, Anakin in the first movie, as Jake LaLloyd, not bad. He doesn't say anything super creepy. He's actually kind of smooth when you think about it, because he asks her if she's an angel. That's his opening line. Mm-hmm. That's pretty smooth for a 9-year-old boy.
But that's because it wasn't Hayden Christensen.
I know. Well, Hayden Christensen's been in other movies and he hasn't been bad. I think it was George Lucas. George Lucas does not know how to direct people. He just doesn't. In the original trilogy, basically the only reason we got any personality out of them was Harrison Ford. And I'm not saying he was the only one personality, but he basically told the other two just to not take it seriously, just to be relaxed, and that's why we got some personality out of people. And they had really good actors. The good actors in these movies, the A-listers, Ewan McGregor, Qui-Gon Jinn, guy from Taken, what's his name? Liam Neeson, Ian McDermott, they are fantastic actors, so they don't need the direction. Hayden was a young actor. He needed some direction, and Lucas is not the person to give you direction. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. He calls her an angel. He makes her that little wood thing and gives it to her so she will remember him. Yep. I mean, I think...
That was pretty smooth as fuck.
Yeah, as a little kid, he's very smooth. And he even gives her that little smile at the end. Like,
smile and a wink.
Yeah. Then we get to Hayden Christensen. And he is so rapey. I mean, he is beyond rapey. It's ridiculous. And what blows my mind, it did for a long time, but I have a theory on this. They start out and she's obviously not interested.
Right.
And then it seems like a flip of a switch, she's interested in him.
Yeah.
Even though he admits to butchering an entire village of people, which shouldn't work.
Shouldn't she be running after that point?
Should have been. I mean, he talks about sand. He creepily touches her.
Yeah.
And he's rapey. He's very, very rapey.
Well, she was very awkward in this too, though.
Yes, but not at first. And this is where my theory comes in. Mind tricks. They only work on the weak-minded. And we're going to assume Padme's not because, I mean, she's a queen, she's a senator, whatever.
Yeah.
But Anakin's supposed to be the most powerful Force user to ever live. I believe because they were in such close proximity for so much time, not on purpose, his feelings caused him to warp her mind.
Ooh.
That's the only reason I can see why she would actually fall in love with him. She'd actually fall in love with him. He twisted her. Not on purpose, because he's still a good person at this point. I think it was just he's so powerful, and she was right there with him, and they were on the same ship. Their bedrooms were right next to each other, and he's projecting these feelings. I think even a strong-minded person with that much pressure eventually will break.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like maybe Lucas did intend that, because even in the second one, in the third movie, in Revenge of the Sith, he says something to her about, you're so beautiful, and she mentions because she's in love with him. It's terrible dialogue. It's awful. And I think that is what he was trying to get at, was Anakin basically, he did rape her. I mean,
wow, that's a new interpretation on Star
That's how
Wars.
I look at it, because I think the way it starts, she's not interested in him. She's not. She thinks he's creepy, which he is creepy. Yeah. She even says, "Don't look at me that way. It makes me uncomfortable."
Yeah.
She does. She's not into it, and then all of a sudden she is. So that's my theory. And then the fact
now entered the Twilight Zone.
And then the fact that she dies of a broken heart, which there is another fan theory about that I really like, and I hope it's true. Actually, Sidious was pulling her life force away from her to feed it into Anakin or Darth Vader. Yeah, that's a whole nother tangent.
We'll get into that another time.
Yeah, so prequels, really bad, mostly I think because of the dialogue and the writing. I do think that with a better director of actors, it could have gone better. But the prequels were bad because Lucas surrounded himself with yes men, and nobody had the guts to tell him this is not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, in the original trilogy, he directed New Hope, and it was saved in the edit by his wife and Steven Spielberg. Empire Strikes Back was directed by Irvin Kershner, and Return of the Jedi was directed by, I can't remember his name at the moment, but Lucas has great ideas. I don't think he can translate them to film as well as he thinks he can.
Right.
I think he's more of a creator of ideas, and then he should get another director. And the sad part is, he was going to have 3 different directors do the prequels.
I did not.
And Spielberg, because he wanted Steven Spielberg to do one of them, Spielberg actually told him, no, you should do these.
Oh,
he was going to hire 3 big directors. I think it was Spielberg. I can't remember. They were big-time directors. I don't know where I read this. If I can find it, I'll link it in the video, but I mean, it could have been different. It could have been totally different. He could have given them the ideas, the rough idea. They could have come up with a better script, and we could have had totally different.
Damn you, Steven Spielberg!
Yeah, right?
Damn you!
Screwed it up. And I mean, we know, other than the last Indiana Jones, and I personally don't hate it that much. I don't think it's that terrible, other than Shia LaBeouf. But
I don't know. The plot was a little dumb.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense.
Aliens.
But we've had the Ark of the Covenant, cults in India, the
At least that was history based.
The Cup of Christ. I mean, those skulls are real.
They're
real. They're crystal. I don't think they're actually crystals, but they're having people that elongated their skulls. So it's just
no. They actually do have crystals. Skulls.
Do they? Okay, so
and technically they are.
And we're talking about
correct that it's alien. They think that it's aliens or whatever. But then again, isn't that kind of the default?
And we're talking about the 60s, so the alien crisis was at an all-time high, so makes sense. Well, let's continue on. We're getting off here.
No, actually, my super ex-girlfriend. All right.
Never seen this one.
I've unfortunately seen this one a couple
It's a
of
weird
times.
pairing, Uma Thurman and Luke Wilson.
I love Uma Thurman.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
She is one of my favorite actresses out there. She doesn't nearly get enough credit for what she deserves.
No.
Especially in Kill Bill, but we're not going to go there. How the hell does Luke Wilson keep getting jobs?
I don't know.
He's bland and blah and terrible and mediocre in every single one of them. I don't think he's come out with one good performance in a movie. But yet he's in like 100.
I don't know. And so I've never seen this movie. What's so bad about the romance?
Just the chemistry between those
There's
two.
no chemistry?
There's no chemistry. And then at the very end, they don't even end up together. She actually ends up with a bad guy. Like,
that's actually kind of brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it is, but what the fuck was the point of watching an hour and a half movie about this relationship if that's going to be the ending?
Turning expectations on their head?
You did Uma Thurman wrong, movie. You did Uma Thurman wrong.
Well, did she end up with the right person?
Kinda.
Then I guess they did it right.
I still did not like it.
All right, we'll move on.
Because I hate Luke Wilson, too.
We'll move on to another kind of overrated actor. Just Married, Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy. I remember this movie. I think it was like a 2004 movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that time frame.
Basically, it was a couple of kids.
It's a rom-com.
Yeah, they get married,
after
real
dating
quick.
for like a month.
Yeah, and basically this is like the fallout of their honeymoon.
Yeah, so it also has like a really bad message in it because it kind of they basically hook up and then they get married, and they fall out after the honeymoon because of a misunderstanding or a rom-com misunderstanding. But then they get back together. That's just saying that these hookups can turn into something.
Yeah.
That's a really bad message.
That's basically the equivalent of saying, hey, one-night stands are good, guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really bad message to put out there. But it's I vaguely remember it. It was not a good movie. There's this weird force. The woman tries to basically rape Ashton Kutcher in the one scene, and that's what causes a lot of the problems. And there's the random guy in France, or they're in Italy, right?
Yeah.
And he's like getting really rapey with Brittany Murphy. It's a strange movie.
It is. And the whole movie is just strange. And if you can help yourselves, do not watch this movie.
Don't watch it. And also right at the end, because like the family, she's from a rich family.
Yeah.
And he comes back. And
he's like a late night radio announcer or something like that.
But they don't like him. If I remember this correctly, like I said, it's been years. They don't like him. And at the end, he comes back to their mansion to try and get her back. And all of a sudden, she comes back, and they all like him. It just came out, and it just didn't make sense.
Rom-com, man.
Yeah, rom-coms are so dumb. Anybody can write a rom-com. It's got literally 3 story beats, and you just got to fill in the rest with filler.
Yeah.
Relationship starts, relationship has a problem, relationship goes well again. That's a rom-com, and you just got to try and throw in a few jokes. Last, so number 9, I have never seen this one.
Shallow Hal.
I don't think I've seen this. It's the interesting pairing for sure.
It is. It's an interesting pairing, and on paper you look at it and be like,
is this a rom-com as well?
Yeah, it's a rom-com, but it's a really weird rom-com because it's like, all right, so Jack Black is obviously Jack Black. He doesn't, or his name is Hal something, right?
He's one of those actors that always plays basically himself.
Yeah. And his name is Hal, and he's really terrible with women. So he ends up going to a Tony Robbins seminar. I kid you not. This is when it starts getting loopy, right? He actually, after the seminar, he runs into Tony Robbins again in the elevator and talks to him. So Tony Robbins supposedly puts like a fucking voodoo mind trick, Jedi mind trick on him, and like placebo hypnotizes him.
Okay. Does he pay for this?
No.
Okay.
He paid for the seminar, but not this encounter in the elevator. And basically what Tony Robbins does is, because Hal is really shallow and only, only wants to be with like the most beautiful women, Tony Robbins essentially makes him think that all women look like that, even if they're like cows.
Okay.
So basically that's the gist of the movie, and Jack Black ends up falling in love with fat as shit Gwyneth Paltrow, obviously.
So he sees her as Gwyneth Paltrow, but she's not actually.
She's a big old lady, like.
That's
huge.
another really bad message to be putting out there. And also, Jack Black doesn't really have much room to ask for the hottest women in the world.
No,
I mean,
he's
basically the living embodiment of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, and basically the whole movie is just awkward joke after awkward fat joke. Like, there's like one scene where she's picking out underwear, and obviously because in real life she's big, so it's like big underwear. But he sees Gwyneth Paltrow, looking at these big underwear, and it's like, oh, what are you making, a parachute?
Oh.
Enough said, right?
So wait, okay. So I need to follow this train of thought, this logic here. So she's holding up the big ass underwear, and that's how he sees them. But when she puts them on, do they?
She doesn't put them on.
But if he were to take, forget it. I'm confused.
But yes, you are correct. He sees them as like tiny. But then as soon as they comes off, because there's actually a sex scene, kind of sex scene, right?
She takes off. Paid Gwyneth Paltrow a lot of money for this movie.
She kind of takes off her panties, right, and they look all tiny. But then she kicks them to his face, and then they're the big ass parachutes again. Right there should be a fucking red flag.
What about when she hops on top of him? Isn't he going to realize that the weight is a little different than it appears?
I don't know.
But how does the logic in this work? What are the rules of this?
I don't know. But at the end of the movie, the whole, like, voodoo Jedi mind trick ends up wearing off, and he realizes that it's a big girl, and happily ever after. But
so he does stay with her?
He does.
Okay. Well, I guess that kind of makes the message not too bad at the end. But
it's just, like, the whole movie is just awkward and weird, and why? Why? Why would they ever do this to Gwyneth Paltrow?
She must have gotten paid a lot of money for it.
Stupid amounts of money.
Yeah. So last one, Norbit. This is like the last, at least that I can remember, Eddie Murphy movie where Eddie Murphy played everybody.
Yeah.
And he plays Norbit, and what's the woman's name? I can't remember.
I want to say Latifah or
well, whatever. And he also plays the Asian guy who runs the daycare.
Yeah.
So he has the romance, obviously, between himself and how you doing woman, which is also him.
Yeah.
And he has the romance between him and the really hot chick. Both of them were bad, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, Eddie Murphy is raping Eddie Murphy, and that's the whole relationship and treating him like crap. Yeah, think about that one. And then the other chick, there's absolutely no reason why she would fall in love with him. Like, they try and play it off because they grew up together in the orphanage, but I'm sorry. I hate to burst everybody's Disney princess bubble. Number one, Disney princesses are all beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, there's nobody in this world, at any time in this world, who has ever fallen in love with somebody, or at least been attracted to somebody initially based on personality. Everybody starts at looks.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
That's just human nature.
You look at a person, you find them attractive, and then you get to know their looks. And usually, if you don't like their personality, if you don't like their personality, it ends there. If you like their personality, it moves on. There's no way Norbit ever would have found anything better than Letitia or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
The whale. It's bad. Eddie Murphy, I'm glad he's kind of stopped making movies because they just have gotten progressively worse.
Progressively.
All right, 10 worst movie romances, coming from guys that have no idea about romance.
Yep.
But if we can point this kind of stuff out.
That the movies are terrible.
So we will now go
awkwardly transition into the ranting and rolling, and I believe that you actually had this one.
So, for Rev, you know that the thing I hate most about adulting is grocery shopping. I hate going to the grocery store, and I went last week before our Super Bowl episode, and I went in at about noon to go grocery shopping, and it wasn't one of the big chains. It's kind of a smaller chain in our area, and the whole place was full of senior citizens, and it's not that just them, but oh my God, they are so slow. They like to talk to each other. They don't understand, and it's not just them. Nobody understands the fact that when you're in the grocery store, it's like a road. You stay on this side if you're going this way. I stay on this side if I'm coming that way. Mm-hmm. You can't stop in the middle of an aisle to talk. You don't park your cart in the middle of an aisle. If you're looking at something, move your cart all the way over to the same side you are on.
Same thing as you would be parking a car.
Get off your damn cell phone. This is later when I went to Walmart. But so as I'm in there getting really irritated and really frustrated and really angry at how slow these people are, I finally get in line I'm in line, I'm almost done, and there's one really old lady in front of me, and she has 4 items, and I swear to God, it took her 5 minutes to unload those 4 items from her cart.
Wow.
But that's okay, because she had enough time, because the guy ahead of her, who had all of his stuff cashed out, had the money in his hand to pay the cashier, would not shut the fuck up. He just kept talking to this young cashier, probably a 16-year-old kid, wouldn't stop fucking talking to him.
Oh, I hate it when that
Just
happens.
give him the damn money and get the fuck out of the store.
Yeah.
So as I'm standing there irritated, I decided that we need to come up with 1 day a week for a 3-hour window where only senior citizens are allowed to shop. Nobody else. And that is the only time they are allowed to shop. And since they're all retired and have nothing going on, Monday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Nobody else is allowed in the stores, just them. But after that, they are not allowed in the stores. For the rest of the week, you get 1 fucking day. You have all the time in the world. You can schedule your bird watching or your book reading or whatever the fuck you do to not die around your 3-hour shopping window. That's it. That's what you get, because it just irritates me. So then I move on to Walmart, which for anybody that isn't a complete Walmartian, it's irritating going to Walmart.
Yes, it is.
Same problems. They don't understand the aisles. They're talking. They're standing in front of the fucking thing. I just wanted to get like a little pack of frozen pizzas, and there's these 2 massive people standing in front of it talking to each other about the frozen pizzas. And I'm like, excuse me, and they just fucking ignore me because they're so fucking entitled or dumb or whatever the fuck it is.
Maybe the fat was covering their ears.
So I decided here, so this is my second great idea, on the other 6 days and 21 hours when the old people aren't allowed to shop, we are all allowed to take katanas into Walmart or whatever store we're shopping in, and you literally fight your way through the store. You are allowed to kill any motherfucker that gets in your way, and the only time you are not allowed to be attacked is in the cash lanes. It would speed it the fuck up. People would probably not stop to talk. They wouldn't be on their damn cell phones, and if they were, I'd just pull my katana out and fucking cut them in half. Like, get the fuck out of my way. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It would definitely cut some,
I hate grocery shopping so much. I hate it. I fucking hate it. And that's it for me.
And that is your ranting and rolling.
That's my ranting and
that
rolling.
That would definitely cut some time in half going grocery shopping, though.
All right, I think that does it for us this week. So please like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all these social media platforms. You can find our podcast, which comes out every Sunday, on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. So the podcast is Sundays. We do the Joe Shit Show on Tuesdays. Last week's did not happen because we found out that the movie we were watching wasn't all that terrible. It was kind of just, we didn't have a lot of material to get off of it. But this week, for Valentine's Day, we are going to be watching 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, God, why?
Wednesdays is our surprise show.
Microphone Joe's Mystery Show.
Microphone Joe's Mystery Show. Thursdays is going to become the gaming show day. We just have not gotten around. Our schedules have been a little conflicted. Things are going to start lining up, and we'll be able to do our streaming and putting our best of stream videos up. Fridays, we try and post the ranting and rolling that you just heard from the previous episode. And we also are starting to talk about some new things coming down the pike, so keep your eye out. Those will probably show up on the Wednesday mystery show.
Probably, yeah.
So, with that being said, I'm CJC.
And I'm No Rev.
And stay average.